Mickey's Field Trips to the Hospital is pretty great. This is a Disney short film from 1987, and as you can imagine, Mickey Mouse is visiting a hospital. I will be honest, it did make me feel a bit nauseous at certain points because, well, in a good way, it really gives off the environment of a hospital. So, if, like most people, you're not a fan of hospitals, it may not feel the most comfortable to watch at times, but actually, it's very well done. The whole thing is about 10 minutes, and Mickey and this child explore the hospital and learn about the different parts of the hospital. And what I love is that it actually took the time to mention the workers in the hospital you wouldn't normally think of, the staff who operate the switchboards, the cleaners, the volunteers, and I really appreciated that. Obviously, the bulk of it is about doctors, nurses, surgeons, but I really like the fact that they were saying behind the scenes there are so many other people involved in helping a hospital run smoothly. Mickey's wearing scrubs at one point, or like a little net, and clothing to protect his clothing, which I just thought was absolutely adorable. And there's some information about what happens when you go to hospital, such as getting one of those little white bracelets on, and what the chart is. Because I feel like I haven't been into hospital that much, but I don't know if they explain very well what that clipboard is that they keep hooked on the end of the bed. But this actually explains what it's for, what doctors are writing in it, which I think is a good way to provide young viewers with information and help to, ease anxieties. If you know all of these little details about what to expect, then I think going into the hospital is, well, it's always going to be daunting. But if you know more, the saying goes, forewarned is forearmed. And if you can prepare for things and understand things better, it can make things a little bit easier. We get to see x ray machines and some of the technical side of things, and we don't learn too much about specific conditions, which I think was a good idea because anybody watching it could be going into hospital for any number of reasons, or they might have a relative or a friend in hospital, and there are so many possible reasons. But I think it was a good idea that it didn't specify any particular condition or symptom, and I think that was a good choice. It's a very welcoming, friendly film. To say that it's set in a hospital, it's still quite clinical, but it also made it seem less scary, and it made it seem like it was a well-oiled ship. Everything ran smoothly, and that's what you want. That's the atmosphere you want when you think about hospitals. You don't want to think of, well, the chaos that they actually are, because let's be honest, especially waiting rooms and A&E, they're not stress-free places. As I said, there were a couple of times when I felt a little bit uncomfortable. Partly, I think, in response to how the child was behaving. The child seemed quite uncomfortable because it's a hospital and they're scary, and I felt that. So that came across, I think, in a way that's very relatable. It's a very real emotion to have in response to a hospital. So it's very realistic, but it does mean it's not the most comfortable or easy viewing, depending on what your relationships with hospitals are, of course. Personally, I really don't like them. Some people might be indifferent to them. But either way, it's informative, it's educational, it's very well edited, everything is put together really nicely. And even though it does feel a little bit nauseating at times, as I said, it does help to show that hospitals are, in theory, very well-oiled machines with everybody working together, and that everything will be there to make sure you're safe and happy and as comfortable as can be. And I think that's obviously a pretty good message to give. So, in all, very educational. Mickey was adorable. Not a bad short at all.